Stand down. That is a direct order from your commander, and you need to hear it before you take one more step. Do not scroll past this. You are walking towards something right now that looks like a battle worth fighting, and I am telling you from higher ground that it is not a battle. It is an ambush. The enemy set it up to look exactly like the kind of situation you would never walk away from. He studied you. He knows your loyalty. He knows you are the one who always shows up, and he used that against you. You are in danger, and you do not see it yet. I need you to stop moving, right now. The situation you have been inserting yourself into, the one that feels urgent, the one that looks like it will collapse without you, the one that has been draining you in ways you cannot fully explain. That situation was designed, not by the people involved, not by circumstance. It was engineered by an enemy who knows that the fastest way to neutralize my strongest soldier is to lure them off their post with something that appeals to their deepest instinct to help. And you took the bait, not because you are foolish, because you are faithful. But faithful soldiers still die in ambushes when they break rank without orders from the commander. And I did not order you into that fight. I did not send you into that situation. I did not authorize your involvement in that conflict. You volunteered, out of love, out of loyalty, out of an identity that cannot stand still while someone else appears to be suffering. And now I am pulling you back before the trap closes. What I reveal next is the specific danger you cannot see from where you are standing, and why my order to stand down is about to save your life. Type HALT if you have been running toward a situation that has been draining you, and something inside you just recognized the voice of the commander telling you to stop. Before we go any further, I need to tell you something that genuinely surprised me. A neuroscientist discovered a simple 7-second technique that actually rewires how your brain processes thoughts. And when I tried it, the difference was almost unsettling. My focus sharpened, ideas started connecting faster, and that mental fog, gone. This isn't manifestation nonsense. It's backed by real brain science, and thousands of people are already seeing results. But here's the catch. Only 5 spots are left. If something inside you is saying, try it, trust that instinct. Click the link in the description or pinned comment before it's too late. From where you are standing, it looks like a battlefield. From where I am standing, I can see the trap lines. That is the difference between the soldier's view and the commander's view. You see the conflict. You see the people who appear to need you. You see the urgency that screams for your presence. And from ground level, every piece of evidence tells you the same thing. Get in there, fight, help, do what you always do. But I am not on the ground. I am on higher ground. And the view from here changes everything. I can see what was laid beneath the surface of that situation before you ever arrived. Tripwires strung across the exact path you would take, because the enemy mapped your tendencies before he set the trap. Concealed positions where the real attack is waiting, not aimed at the situation you are trying to fix, but aimed at you, specifically at you. The situation was never the target. You were, and you walked right toward it, because it wore the disguise of someone who needed you. I need you to hear how personal this is. This message did not arrive in your life by coincidence. It arrived because the commander saw his soldier breaking rank in real time and sent an emergency communication before the perimeter was crossed. You are not past the point of danger yet. You are at the edge of it, close enough that the enemy can see you approaching, but not yet close enough for the trap to be triggered. This is the last clear moment before the ambush activates. I am not speaking to the crowd right now. I am speaking to the one soldier who has been pouring themselves into a situation that everyone else sees as noble, but that I see from above as a carefully constructed kill zone designed to take out the very person the enemy feared most. You, the one who always shows up, the one who never walks away. That loyalty is about to be weaponized against you unless you obey the order I am giving you right now. Type higher ground if you are beginning to realize that the situation you have been fighting in looks completely different from God's perspective, and you are ready to trust what He sees over what you see. I have been watching you volunteer for battles that were never yours, and every time it cost you more than you reported. You never told anyone the real toll. You came back from every fight looking intact, standing, functioning, reporting for duty, but I could see the damage beneath the armor. The hits you absorbed that you did not log, the wounds you dressed yourself when no one was looking, the energy that was drained from your reserves and never replenished because you were already running toward the next conflict before your body had time to recover from the last one. I have been watching this pattern for longer than you realize, and I need you to know that I did not assign you to most of those fights. You assigned yourself. You heard the sound of conflict, and your body moved before your spirit could check with the commander. Your instinct overrode your orders, not out of rebellion, but out of an identity so deeply wired to respond to need that the concept of standing still while someone else struggles feels physically impossible to you. That instinct is real, but it is not always right. I placed that protective drive inside you on purpose. It is part of your design as my soldier. But the enemy has been studying that design, and he figured out that the fastest way to pull you out of position is to create a disturbance that activates your protective instinct and sends you running in a direction I never pointed you toward. He has done it before. You just did not recognize it as a tactic. The relationship that consumed 2 years of your energy, that was an ambush you survived. The situation that drained you so deeply last year that you almost could not recover, that was a trap that nearly succeeded. And the thing you are currently involved in, the one that feels urgent and righteous and impossible to walk away from, this one is the most carefully constructed ambush yet, because this time the enemy did not just use your loyalty, he used your love. And what I need to show you next is exactly what was laid beneath the surface of this situation before you ever stepped into it. Type tactics if you are beginning to see a pattern. Situations that looked noble but left you drained, and you now realize the enemy has been using your own loyalty to pull you into traps. I see the exhaustion you have been hiding beneath the armor. You do not let people see it. You report for every battle looking ready, shoulders set, voice steady, hands available for whatever the next crisis requires. But underneath the posture, there is a weariness that has settled into your bones so deeply that you have stopped recognizing it as abnormal. You think this is just what it feels like to be a faithful person, to be the one who always shows up, to carry the weight that others set down. It is not. This is what it feels like to fight in battles you were never assigned to. I saw you last week when you put the phone down after that conversation, the one that lasted an hour and left you feeling like someone had opened a valve at the base of your spine and drained everything you had stored for your own survival. You sat there empty, not angry, not resentful, just hollow. The kind of hollow that comes from pouring out reserves that were never meant to be spent on that particular conflict. And you told no one how empty you were, because admitting the emptiness felt like admitting failure, like confessing that the soldier everyone depends on is running out of ammunition. And soldiers like you do not confess that. You reload in the dark. You patch your own wounds between engagements. You show up to the next battle before the blood from the last one has dried. and you call it faithfulness. But I call it bleeding out in a fight I never sent you to. The private moments of exhaustion, the ones that hit you in the shower, in the car, in the 15 seconds between tasks, where the truth of your depletion flashes across your consciousness before you push it back down. I have seen every single one of them, not as a commander reviewing damage reports, as a father watching his child get hurt in a place he never told them to go. The pain is real, the exhaustion is real, and neither one was part of my plan for you. The loneliest part is that nobody fights for you the way you fight for everyone else. You noticed it a long time ago, but you never said it out loud because saying it felt like keeping score, and soldiers like you do not keep score. You just show up, you just engage. You just throw yourself into the breach for people who would not cross the street to check on you when your own walls are crumbling. And the imbalance has been silently eroding something inside you that used to believe that faithfulness would eventually be matched. It has not been matched, and the ache of that is something only you and I know about. You have been standing in battles where you are simultaneously the most invested person in the room and the most uncovered. No one guarding your flank, no one watching your back, no one scanning the perimeter for threats aimed specifically at the one who is too busy protecting everyone else to notice the danger closing in on their own position. That is how ambushes succeed. They target the unprotected protector, and the enemy knows that you are unprotected because he has watched you deploy all of your resources outward. Every ounce of energy, every reserve of emotional strength, every fragment of attention, aimed at the people and situations you have been trying to save. Nothing left for defense, nothing held back for retreat, nothing stored for the moment when the trap springs, and you suddenly need the very reserves you spent on someone else's war. You have been fighting naked and calling it devotion. I watched you carry this with a silence that grieved me. The moments where you wanted someone, anyone, to say you have done enough, you can stop now, let me take this one. But no one said it, because no one sees the soldier who is always standing. They only notice when the soldier falls. I am saying it now. Before you fall, before the ambush takes what you have left, you have done enough, and I am ordering you to stop. Type uncovered if you have been protecting everyone around you while no one has been protecting you. And you just heard the commander say what no one else has been willing to say. Every battle you fought, even the ones I did not assign, trained you for something I did. I need you to hear this before the guilt sets in. The guilt that says you wasted time. The guilt that whispers you should have known better. The guilt that wants to reframe every unassigned fight as a failure of discernment rather than an excess of devotion. That guilt is not from me, and it does not have permission to speak over my soldier. The unassigned battles were not wasted. They were unauthorized training. Every conflict you inserted yourself into taught your hands something they could not have learned from the sidelines. Stamina under fire, emotional endurance in prolonged engagements, the ability to remain calm inside chaos while others around you are breaking rank and scattering. Those skills were not listed in my original training program for you, but they are skills I am going to use in the assignment that is actually yours. The wrong fights prepared you for the right one. And the exhaustion, the draining, bone-deep fatigue that has been the cost of your over-involvement, that was not punishment for disobedience. It was the natural consequence of a soldier operating beyond their supply line. You ventured so far from the position I assigned you that the provision I set up for you could not reach you where you were fighting. The resources were always flowing. But they were flowing to your post, and you were not at your post. You were at someone else's battle, wondering why the supply had dried up. The delays and the dryness and the feeling that heaven was not supporting you, those were not rejection. Those were geography. You were in the wrong location for the provision that was earmarked for you. And the moment you return to the post I assigned, the moment you step back from the fights I never sent you to, the supply reconnects instantly. The provision was never withheld. You simply outran it. And what I am about to show you is the post you were supposed to be standing at this entire time, and what has been waiting there for you. Something is shifting on the battlefield right now, and you need to feel it. The commander does not issue a stand-down order unless two conditions have been met. The ambush has been identified, and the extraction route has been secured. Both conditions are met. I would not be speaking to you right now if the route back to safety was still being cleared. It is clear. The path between where you are standing and where I need you to be has been opened, and every obstacle that would have complicated your withdrawal has already been removed. The exit is open, and it will not stay open indefinitely. I have been working behind the lines of your life in ways your ground-level perspective could not detect. The situation you thought was falling apart without your involvement, it is not falling apart. It is being rerouted. The people you thought could not survive without your presence. I have already assigned alternative support that does not require your life as the price of their stability. You were never the only soldier available. You just believed you were. And that belief, the conviction that everything collapses without you, was one of the trap lines. The enemy installed it in your thinking so carefully that you mistook it for truth. He whispered, "You are the only one who can handle this." He echoed, "No one else will step up if you step back." And those whispers were so consistent with your identity that you absorbed them without examination. But I am examining them now, from higher ground, and I can see they are wired to the ambush. The moment you believed you were indispensable is the moment the trap became armed, because an indispensable soldier never retreats, never steps back, never obeys the order to stand down, because the cost of leaving feels higher than the cost of staying. And that calculation, that emotional arithmetic that always lands on stay, is exactly what the enemy was counting on. I am rewriting the math, and what I show you next changes every calculation you have been making. Type extraction if you are beginning to realize that the thing you thought would collapse without you has already been covered by God, and the exit route is open right now. This plan of God is going to save you, and I need you to understand what you are being saved from. Not from a visible enemy, not from a battle you can see approaching from a distance, from a trap that was designed to be invisible to every soldier who entered it, because the trap is disguised as purpose. It wears the face of a mission. It carries the scent of nobility. It speaks in the language of love and loyalty and sacrifice, all words that your heart responds to instinctively, because those words describe who you are at the deepest level. The most dangerous traps speak your language, and this one speaks it fluently. I have been watching the ambush tightened around you in stages so gradual that each one felt like a natural progression of your involvement. First it asked for your presence, then it asked for your energy, then it asked for your peace. Then it began asking for pieces of you that are not renewable. Your calling, your focus, your assignment, the irreplaceable resources I stored inside you, for a purpose that has nothing to do with the situation you are currently embedded in. The trap is no longer taking your extras, it is taking your essentials. This is why the title of this message is not a suggestion, it is an alarm. You are in danger, not the kind of danger that threatens your physical body, the kind that threatens your divine assignment. The enemy does not need to destroy you to win. He only needs to keep you permanently deployed in the wrong fight until the window for your actual assignment closes. And that window is narrowing while you are pinned down in a conflict I never authorized. The plan I have for you, the one that will save you, is not complicated. It is an extraction. a divinely ordered withdrawal from every engagement that does not carry my signature. And the simplicity of the plan is what makes it powerful. Because the enemy built this ambush expecting you to stay. He never calculated for a commander who would intervene directly and pull his soldier out before the kill zone activated. He miscalculated, and his miscalculation is your rescue. The extraction window is open right now, and your commander is giving the final signal to move. Everything I have spoken over you in this message has been building toward this moment. The moment where the order becomes operational, not theoretical. Not a concept to pray about and consider over the next few weeks. An active, immediate, time-sensitive command from the one who has authority over every battlefield you have ever set foot on. The order is live, and hesitation is not an option. I need you to feel the urgency of what is happening around you in the invisible realm. The ambush that was set for you has a trigger point. A specific moment when your involvement deepens past the threshold of easy withdrawal and the trap locks into position around you. You have been approaching that trigger point for weeks. Every additional conversation, every additional commitment, every additional emotional investment has moved you closer to the line where stepping back becomes exponentially harder. You are steps away from that line, and I am pulling you back now. The fear you feel about withdrawing, the voice that says they need me, it will fall apart, I cannot just leave. That fear is the last perimeter of the ambush, the outermost ring of the trap, designed to keep you moving forward when every divine signal is telling you to stop. The enemy placed that fear at the exact point where the soldier would have to cross it in order to obey the stand-down order. He knew it would be your final obstacle. But you have faced obstacles before, and you have never let fear outrank your commander. This is the moment your training converges with your obedience. Every unauthorized battle that taught you to function under pressure, this is where that training pays off. Not in another fight. In the discipline of withdrawing from one. Because the hardest maneuver any soldier ever executes is not the charge forward, it is the ordered retreat. The next thing I speak over you is the plan itself, and it is going to save everything the ambush was designed to destroy. Type obey if you can feel the urgency of the commander's order right now. And you are ready to trust the stand-down command, even though every instinct in you wants to keep fighting. Here is the plan, and it requires you to do the thing you have never been willing to do. Walk away, not in anger, not in bitterness, not with the door-slamming finality of someone who has been hurt and wants the world to know it. Walk away the way a soldier walks away from an ambush zone when the commander has given a direct order to withdraw, with discipline, with trust, with the absolute certainty that the one who issued the command has access to intelligence that the soldier on the ground does not possess. This plan of God is going to save you, but only if you move now. I am ordering you to disengage from the situation that has been consuming your energy, your peace, your focus, and your calling. I am commanding you to remove yourself from the conflict that you believed needed you, but was actually using you. I am pulling my soldier out of a kill zone that was constructed with your specific loyalties in mind. Designed by an enemy who knew that the only way to keep you in the blast radius was to make leaving feel like betrayal. Leaving is not betrayal. Leaving is obedience. I need you to hear this with every fiber of your being. The thing you have been calling commitment, I call entrapment. The thing you have been calling loyalty, I call exposure. The thing you have been calling love, I call a trap that learned your heart's language and used it to keep you standing in the exact position where the ambush was aimed. You are not abandoning them. You are obeying me. And the plan does not end with your withdrawal. The withdrawal is the beginning. The moment you step back from the unauthorized fight, every resource I have been trying to deliver to you reconnects. Every ounce of energy the trap was siphoning is returned. Every fragment of focus that was scattered across battles that were never yours consolidates back into the single beam of purpose that I designed your life around. Do not wait. The ambush has a timer, and the commander is telling you, move now. The moment you step back from that fight, your entire system is going to reboot. That is not exaggeration. That is the military equivalent of a soldier returning from deep behind enemy lines to the safety of the command post, where the supply lines work, where the communication channels are clear, where the armor can be repaired, and the weapons can be recalibrated, and the body can finally stop running on the fumes of adrenaline that have been substituting for actual provision. You have been running on adrenaline, and you did not even realize it. The energy you thought was commitment was actually your body's emergency response system, the one that activates when a soldier is deployed beyond their supply line, and the only fuel available is the internal reserve that was never meant to sustain long-term engagement. That system kept you functional, but it has been burning through resources that I stored for your actual assignment, resources that cannot be replenished while you remain in the ambush zone. Stepping back is not retreat, it is resupply. And this changes everything about your capacity. The tiredness that you accepted as permanent, that lifts the moment you disengage from fights that were draining you without authorization. The confusion that clouded your decisions, that clears the moment your position realigns with the post I assigned you. The heaviness that settled over your calling, making your actual purpose feel distant and unreachable. That dissolves the moment you stop pouring yourself into conflicts that were consuming the very fuel your assignment requires. Your assignment has been starving while you fed someone else's battle. And the people around you, the ones embedded in the situation you are withdrawing from, they are not going to be destroyed by your absence. I know that fear has been the chain keeping you locked in position, but the commander who orders a soldier to stand down does not leave the rest of the battlefield unattended. I have resources you do not know about, personnel you have never met, plans that were in motion before you ever volunteered. Your exit does not create a vacuum. It creates space for the plan I had before you intervened. Type resupply if you just realize that the exhaustion you have been carrying is not the cost of faithfulness. It is the cost of fighting in a battle God never sent you to. And stepping back is what restores everything. Let me show you what your life looks like when you are standing at the post I actually assigned you. The first thing that changes is the supply. At your assigned post, the provision flows without interruption because the supply lines were built to reach that specific position. The energy you have been scraping together from empty reserves is replaced by a steady, reliable current of strength that arrives daily without requiring you to perform heroics to access it. You will feel the difference within days of your withdrawal, not weeks, days. You were never meant to fight on fumes. You were meant to fight fully resourced. The clarity returns next. The fog that has been sitting over your decision-making, the inability to discern what is yours and what is not, what is God-sent and what is enemy-engineered. That fog was a direct result of your position. When a soldier is standing in an ambush zone, their perception is compromised. Every sound becomes a threat. Every movement becomes urgent. And the ability to distinguish between genuine orders from the commander and manufactured noise from the enemy deteriorates the longer the soldier remains in the kill zone. At your post the signal is clean, and you will hear me clearly again. Your calling, the one that has felt distant and theoretical for months, is going to come back into focus with a sharpness that will surprise you. Not because the calling changed, because your attention was scattered across unauthorized engagements, and the moment you withdraw from them, the full beam of your focus reconverges on the assignment that has been waiting patiently for its soldier to return. The assignment did not leave. You did. And what I have been building at your post while you were away will take your breath away. Resources positioned, connections prepared, doors unlocked and waiting for the soldier who was always meant to walk through them, but could not because their hands were full of weapons from someone else's war. Your hands are about to be free, and what they are meant to hold has been waiting for them. People are going to notice the change in you, and they will not understand what happened. The ones who have watched you run from battle to battle, depleted, scattered, pouring yourself into every conflict within reach, they are going to see you walk differently, stand differently, respond differently. Where there was urgency, there will be calm. Where there was compulsive availability, there will be intentional selection. Where there was a soldier sprinting toward every sound of gunfire, there will be a warrior standing at their assigned post with the quiet authority of someone who finally knows the difference between every fight and their fight. That authority is going to change the atmosphere around you. Connections that were impossible during your scattered deployment are going to appear. Not because you chased them, but because the post I assigned you sits at a strategic intersection where the right people, the right opportunities, and the right resources naturally converge. You could not access these connections while you were embedded in unauthorized battles, because those battles were positioned far from the intersection. The geography was wrong. Your location was wrong. And everything prepared for you required your presence at coordinates you had abandoned. Your return post activates everything that was waiting for you there. Professional doors that seemed permanently sealed are going to respond to you. Not because you became more qualified, but because you are finally standing in the position where your qualifications meet their intended application. A soldier operating outside their assignment looks overqualified for the wrong role and underqualified for the right one. At your post, the match is exact, and exact matches open doors that force never could. Your gifts are going to find their context for the first time. And the people who benefited from your over-involvement, the ones who grew accustomed to your presence in their battles, they are going to discover resources they did not know they had, because your constant intervention was preventing them from encountering the provision I had already prepared for them through other channels. Your withdrawal heals you and releases them. And what comes next is why I chose you for this specific post. Type stationed if you are ready to stop running toward every battle and start standing at the one post God specifically assigned you, knowing that everything you have been searching for is already waiting there. I need you to understand why I chose you as my soldier and why the enemy targeted you specifically. Not every soldier draws ambushes. Not every warrior requires a direct intervention from the commander to be pulled out of a trap. The level of strategy the enemy deployed against you, the precision with which the bait was crafted, the sophistication of the disguise, the patience with which the trap was laid, that level of tactical investment is not spent on foot soldiers. It is spent on threats. You are a threat to the enemy's operation, and that is why you are under attack. The loyalty that makes you run toward every battle, I put that there. The protective instinct that cannot stand still while others suffer, I engineered that into your design. The inability to walk away from someone who is struggling, that is not a personality trait. That is a weapon I forged and placed inside a soldier I intended to deploy at a specific post for a specific mission that would cause significant damage to enemy territory. Your compassion is a weapon, and the enemy knows it. That is why he did not attack you with something obvious. He did not send a visible threat or an identifiable enemy. He sent you a person who needed help. He sent you a situation wrapped in legitimate suffering. He sent you an opportunity to do what you do best. Show up, fight, protect, because he knew your weapon would activate automatically and pull you out of position before you realized you were being manipulated. He weaponized your weapon against you, and that is the highest compliment an enemy can pay. I chose you because your heart does not calculate cost before it engages. I chose you because your loyalty is not conditional. I chose you because when I finally deploy you at the right post for the right battle, your capacity for devotion will be the single most devastating force the enemy has ever encountered in that territory. But that devastation requires you at the right post, not scattered across every conflict that activates your instincts. And the enemy knows that too, which is exactly why the ambush was set. The doubt circling your mind right now wears the uniform of compassion, and that is what makes it so dangerous. It sounds like this. But what about them? If I step back, who will be there? What if they fall apart because I obeyed God's order to withdraw? What if my obedience causes someone else's collapse? And the doubt has arranged itself so cleverly inside your thinking that questioning the order to stand down feels more righteous than obeying it. That is the final tripwire, and you are inches from stepping on it. The enemy designed this specific doubt for soldiers exactly like you. Soldiers whose greatest vulnerability is the belief that their departure causes destruction. He did not install this fear in people who leave easily. He installed it in the one person who never leaves, because that person only needs one reason to stay, and the doubt manufactures that reason on a continuous loop. But I need you to examine what the doubt is actually saying. It is saying that without you, the situation collapses, that you are the load-bearing wall in someone else's structure, that God, the commander of every army, the architect of every outcome, the sovereign authority over every battlefield on earth, cannot manage a single situation without your specific presence holding it together. Does that sound like truth? Or does that sound like a trap built to flatter you into staying? Your importance is real, but your indispensability is a lie. I am God. I managed the universe before you were born. I held galaxies in position while you were learning to walk. And the suggestion that one situation on one battlefield in one small corner of your life will implode without your personal supervision is not faith in your significance. It is a denial of mine. You matter, but you are not the commander. I am. And the commander is telling you with absolute authority that the situation you are worried about has already been covered by hands you have not seen and plans you were not briefed on. Your withdrawal is not their destruction. Your withdrawal is my opportunity to deploy resources that your presence was actually blocking. Type stand down if you are choosing right now to trust the commander's order over the doubt, knowing that stepping back is not abandonment, but the most obedient thing you have ever done. Even while you were fighting in battles I never sent you to, I was standing at your post, holding your position. You assumed that, because you abandoned your assignment abandoned you. That the post I built for you was given to someone else while you were away. That the commander reassigned your mission to a more obedient soldier who was available when you were not. And now there is nothing left to return to. That is not how I operate. Your post has been held by my own hands. Every day you spent deployed in the wrong conflict, I was standing at your assigned position, guarding it, maintaining it, protecting it from being dissolved by the same enemy who lured you away from it. Because the ambush had two objectives. The first was to drain you through unauthorized engagement. The second was to keep you away long enough for your actual assignment to expire. The second objective failed, because I do not let assignments expire. I need you to hear what this means. The calling you have been feeling distant from, the one that felt like it was slipping further away, with every week You spent pouring yourself into fights that were not yours. That calling has not moved. It has not shrunk. It has not been given to someone who showed up when you did not. It is standing exactly where I placed it, maintained by the commander who knew his soldier would eventually hear the order and return. Your post is not just available, it is waiting for you. There were nights during your unauthorized deployment when you felt a pull, a quiet, persistent tug in a direction that had nothing to do with the battle you were currently fighting. You dismissed it as nostalgia or restlessness, but that pull was me, standing at your post, sending a signal across the battlefield, calling my soldier back to the position that was always theirs. I was never silent during your absence. You were too deep in the noise of the wrong battle to hear the frequency of the right one. The frequency is clear now, and your post is closer than you think. I know the specific battle that is hardest for you to walk away from, and I know why. It is not the loudest one. It is not the most dramatic. It is the one connected to a person whose face you see when you close your eyes at night. The one whose pain activated something in you so deep that withdrawing feels less like a tactical decision and more like ripping a living thing from your chest. I know their name. I know what they represent to you. I know the specific memory that bonded you to their battle and made their fight feel like yours. That bond is real, but the assignment is not. I know the exact moment you decided their war was your war. I know the conversation that sealed it. The one where something in their voice hit a frequency in your history and your body responded before your spirit had time to consult the commander. I know the silent oath you made in that moment. The unspoken, I will not let this person go through what I went through. And I know that oath was forged in your own pain, rather than issued from my command post. Your compassion authored that oath, but I did not cosign it. I know the guilt you will feel walking away from that specific engagement. It will be heavier than any other withdrawal, because it is tangled in parts of your own story that you have not fully separated from their story. And I am not asking you to stop caring about them. I am asking you to stop bleeding for them in a way that drains the blood supply I need for your actual mission. You can love them from your post. You cannot save them from their ambush zone. And the hardest truth I need you to absorb is this. Your presence in their battle may actually be delaying the intervention I have planned for them through channels that cannot activate while you are standing in the way. Your love is blocking my plan. Not intentionally, not maliciously, but effectively. Stepping back from them is not letting them fall. It is letting me catch them with hands that are better equipped than yours. Type release them if you know exactly who God is talking about right now. And you are ready to love them from your post instead of bleeding for them in a battle that was never yours to fight. Here is your operational order, and it begins the moment this message ends. First, identify every engagement you are currently involved in that does not carry my authorization. You already know which ones they are. You have known for longer than you want to admit. The ones that leave you drained instead of deployed. The ones where your presence is demanded rather than requested by heaven. The ones where your involvement has become so entangled that you cannot remember whether you are there because I sent you or because your instincts drafted you. If I did not send you, begin your withdrawal. Not in hostility, not with accusations or explanations designed to make the other party understand why you are leaving. A soldier executing a commander's order does not justify the order to the battlefield. He executes it, cleanly, decisively, with the quiet authority of someone who answers to a chain of command that supersedes every emotional argument for staying. Leave with grace, but leave. Second, return to your post. You know where it is. It is the thing you think about when the noise stops. The calling that surfaces when every other obligation has been temporarily silenced. The work that your hands ache for when they are emptied by someone else's conflict. That is your post. And your first act of obedience after withdrawing from unauthorized battles is to place your feet on the ground I assigned you and refuse to leave it for any disturbance that does not carry my voice as its origin. Third, guard your re-entry. The enemy will send new disturbances immediately after you return to your post. Within days, situations that look urgent, people who appear to be in crisis, conflicts that activate every instinct I placed in you. They will arrive with the same disguise that trapped you before, because the enemy does not retire a strategy that works. He reloads it. Your new discipline is not availability, it is discernment. Before you move, check with the commander. Before you engage, verify the order. Before you give yourself to another fight, confirm that my signature is on the deployment. If my name is not on it, do not move. Stand at your post, and let me fight that battle through someone else. You made it to the extraction point, and I need you to feel the weight of what just happened. A soldier who was running at full speed toward an ambush, heart exposed, reserves depleted, armor compromised by battles that were never authorized, has just been pulled back by the commander's voice. Not by force, not by failure, by obedience. You heard the order, you recognized the voice, and despite everything inside you screaming to keep running toward the people and situations you have been pouring yourself into, you stopped. That stop is the bravest thing you have done in a long time. I want to thank you for something the world will never recognize as courage. The world celebrates soldiers who charge. It builds monuments to those who run toward the fire. It calls retreat weakness and advance strength without ever considering that sometimes the most heroic act on a battlefield is standing still when the commander says stand still. Even when every instinct demands movement, you stood still. And that saved your life. I need you to feel the relief beginning to settle into muscles that have been clenched for months. The tension across your shoulders that came from carrying battles that were never assigned to your frame. Let it soften. The hypervigilance that kept you scanning for the next emergency, the next person to save, the next conflict to throw yourself into, let it power down. You are not on deployment right now. You are at the extraction point. And the extraction point is where soldiers are allowed to breathe. Breathe now, deeply, without scanning the perimeter. The guilt will try to follow you home from the battlefield. It will whisper names of people you left behind. Let it whisper, and then remind it that the commander who pulled you out is the same commander who has authority over every person you are worried about. They are not unprotected. They are differently protected. And you, my brave, exhausted, fiercely loyal soldier, you are finally safe. Type safe if you are exhaling for the first time in months, knowing that the commander pulled you back not because you failed, but because he loves you too much to lose you to an ambush that was never your fight. You are not the scattered soldier who pressed play on this message. That soldier was running in 3 directions simultaneously, bleeding from unauthorized engagements, deaf to the commander's frequency, convinced that their value was measured by how many battles they could fight at once, regardless of whether any of them carried divine orders. That soldier believed that standing down was quitting, and stepping back was betrayal, and resting was the same as letting people die. That soldier just received their orders, and those orders changed everything. You are not a soldier who fights every battle. You are a soldier who fights the right one. And the difference between those two identities is the difference between a warrior who burns out in an ambush zone and a warrior who stands at their assigned post, fully resourced, fully supplied, fully aimed at the single mission that the commander designed them for. You are a posted soldier now, not a scattered one. The battles that drained you are behind you. The ambush that was set for you has been bypassed. The trap that was engineered using your own loyalty as bait has been exposed and rendered powerless. Not by your strength, but by your obedience to a stand-down order that every instinct inside you resisted. Your obedience outranked your instincts, and that is what saved you. From this moment forward, you carry a new operating protocol. You do not move without orders. You do not engage without authorization. You do not pour yourself into conflicts that activate your compassion, but do not carry the commander's signature. Your loyalty is no longer available to every voice that calls for help. It is reserved for the voice that created you, assigned you, and pulled you out of an ambush with a love so fierce it was willing to be misunderstood as abandonment. You are not everyone's soldier anymore. You are mine, and I have a specific post with your name on it that no other soldier can fill. Stand there, fight there, live there, and let the commander handle every battlefield that is not yours. Subscribe to this channel so that every order the commander issues over your life reaches you at your post without delay. You were not built to fight every war. You were built for one assignment, so powerful that the enemy designed an entire ambush just to keep you from reaching it. The next message carries your next order, and posted soldiers do not miss their briefings. Type posted. You are leaving this message knowing your identity has changed. You are no longer the soldier who runs toward every battle, but the warrior who stands at the one post God assigned. And you will never again mistake the enemy's trap for the commander's order.